Alright, welcome to 7-3 Inequalities. We're going to go over how to write inequalities, so translate them from English into math sentences. And then we're also going to graph inequalities. So a mathematical sentence that contains a less than or greater than sign is considered an inequality. And we could also add that these two signs, less than or equal to, are greater than and equal to, are part of the inequality family. Alright, on this page it reviews the less than sign, the greater than sign, the less than, equal to, or the greater than or equal to signs. And you can see that if you copy down some of these phrases that go along with this, it'll help you better when you are translating some of the problems here in the video and or in classwork, homework, tests, and quizzes. So go ahead and pause the video and copy these down. Alright, write any inequality for each sentence. Well, this sentence says your age is less than 6 years. Well, before we begin, let's talk about the format that we should be doing. This will help us in the future when we're dealing with more complicated inequalities. Some sort of format. What we'd like to see is the variable first, then whatever the inequality is, followed by whatever your answer is, our number. Okay. Your age is less than 6 years old. Your age, well, we're going to use the A for age, is less than 6. And that is the answer. But I wanted to point out before I leave this page, do not be confused that this is an equal sign and this is a subtraction. What you really need to look at is that is less than is a whole phrase, and that's what represents this inequality sign. So avoid the mistake that is equal and less than is subtraction, because in combination it actually means it's an inequality. On this slide, same directions, we're going to write an inequality for the sentence. Your height is greater than 40 inches. So we don't know what your height is, so we'll call it H. Is greater than, of course, means that it's the greater than sign, is greater than, and the answer is, or the number is 40. And I want to point out again that don't confuse the is and greater than as something that means equal to plus. Alright? You need to think of it as these as a phrase. These always go together, and that's the greater than sign. So your answer is H is greater than 40. Alright, in this slide you have an inequality. We need to translate it into a math sentence. Your speed, okay, so I don't know what your speed is less than, okay, so once again, less than, or equal to. So we got something a little bit added here, or equal to. How do we represent that? We put this little bar underneath. So now we have S is less than or equal to, and our answer is 35. So that's the translating of that. Alright, we're going to translate again. Your speed is greater than or equal to 55 miles per hour. We don't know what your speed is, but we know it's greater than or equal to 55. That is your answer. Alright, let's see if we can translate this word problem into an inequality that describes low-fat foods. So a food can be labeled low-fat only if it has no more than 3 grams of fat per serving. So let's write that inequality. An inequality that describes low-fat foods. So since I don't know what fat I'm eating, I'm just going to use F as my variable. And it says, is no more than. Well, when people see more than, they think it's this sign here. But with that word no in front of it, it kind of acts like a reverse. Okay, so no more than is actually, that no tells us to flip it, is no more than. And no more than also says it could also be equal to. 3. So let's look at this again. We have fat, and we can have less than or equal to 3 grams of it per serving. We can't have more than that. Alright, for the given value, state whether each inequality is true or false. This is what we do with equations, is a plug and chug situation. So I'm going to go ahead and substitute 14 for wherever there is an S. So I have 14 minus 7 is less than 5. And just like in the equation, I want to go ahead and simplify the left side. These two are like terms. So I get 7 less than the right side, or where the 5 is. Doesn't need to be simplified. I examine this statement. Is 7 less than 5? And it's actually false. So our answer here is false. Alright, let's look at this one. For the given value, state whether each inequality is true or false. And once again, they tell me what A is equal to, so I got to go ahead and plug and chug. So I'm going to go ahead and input that. Wherever there's an A, I'm going to put 20. Now, I'm going to look at the left side where the 12 is. There's nothing to simplify, so I'll go ahead and bring that down. Greater than or equal to. 20 divided by 2 is 10 plus 2. Let me continue on. The 12, once again, is still simplified on the left side. The right side, I'm going to go ahead and combine the two like terms, 10 and 2, and get 12. Now let me evaluate this statement. Is 12 greater than 12? No, that's not true. But remember, we also have this equal, or this bar underneath. So is 12 equal to 12? Yes. 12 is equal to 12, therefore it is true. And that works because of the equal in this statement. Alright. We need to discuss how to put inequalities on a number line. What you do need to know is that greater than or less than, we have an open circle. And you'll see this when I put this on the number line. First off, I find out where 4 is. It's right there. Now, I'm going to tell everyone we're starting at 4. So I'm going to go ahead and put an open circle over it. Now it says x is greater than 4, so that means that all my answers start at 4, but don't include 4, and continue on to the right forever. So the open circle tells everyone don't include 4, but the arrow tells us that everything to the right is the answer. So any number that's greater than 4 will make this statement true. So make sure that you look at the inequality. If it's an open circle, make sure it's an open circle. And here's a little trick. Treat this like a turn signal. Notice that the arrow is pointing to the right, and that helps me determine which way I should put the arrow on my number line. Let's try that again. Alright, I have x is greater than or equal to 4, almost like the previous problem, but I have a greater than or equal to, and that's the same as less than or equal to, and we're going to have a closed circle. And this is the opposite. Now I found my 4. This statement says that I must include 4. So how do I tell everyone when I'm graphing that we must include 4? We have a closed circle. Using the inequality to help me to see which way the arrow is going, is pointing to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and point to the right. So all my answers include 4, and all numbers greater than 4 to the right. You see that we're doing this again. Alright, we have x is less than 4. I identify where the 4 is. I have a less than sign, but not an equal. So my answer starts at 4, but doesn't include 4. And notice that the inequality sign helps me with this little arrow here to the left. So all my answers start at 4, but are less than 4. I'm going to go ahead and shade this. It tells everyone that all these answers to infinity make that statement true. All right, this is our last example for number lines. And if you remember, I talked earlier about format. And you can see here, if you keep it in the format as in above, where it's the variable, the inequality, and the number, it'll be very easy to graph. So let's go over this. We have x is less than or equal to 4. I found out where the 4 is, so I'm going to use the 4. The equal sign tells me I'm going to include 4. And I know it's all the numbers less than 4 are part of the answer. And because I use the format, see, this arrow is going to help me to show me which way. The inequalities arrow helps me find out how to draw the arrow on my number line. Alright, so can we do the opposite? Can we take a number line that has enough information, such as an open circle here, so I know that I have a less than or greater than sign. I also know that it's starting at 10, and I know that since it's shaded here and going this way, I know that's all the numbers greater than 10. So how do I write this answer? Since it's a variable, or I don't know what the answer is, but I do know it's some number, it's greater than but not equal to, and it starts at 10. So I'm using the open circle to help me to see what the inequality is. The arrow helps me to see which, if it's greater than or equal than. We always put the variable first, and we always put our answer and number last. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. X is greater than 10.